Canada and Mexico are working together behind the scenes to present a united front against U.S. President Donald Trump's protectionist NAFTA demands and control the tenor of the trade talks. The two sides hold regular back-channel discussions, from Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland and Mexican Economy Secretary Ildefonso Guajardo down to staffers from the respective governments to compare notes on the U.S. positions and keep one another up to speed on their respective strategies, sources with knowledge of the communications said. As the fifth round of the renegotiation of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, opens this week in the Tony Polanco area of Mexico City, the PAC's junior partners have never been more aligned. They plan to hold firm against U.S. demands on autos, procurement and a sunset clause while seeking quick agreement on less contentious issues. Story continues below advertisement. My impression is that there has been a fair amount of consultation and coordinated strategy developing between Canada and Mexico, said Andrés Rosenthal, a Mexican former deputy foreign minister, who has been following the talks. And I think that's positive. But Ottawa is playing something of a double game. Even as it extensively coordinates its efforts with Mexico City, sources with knowledge of the Canadian government's thinking concede the country would agree to a two-way negotiation with the United States if NAFTA talks break down. Under exactly which circumstances Canada would ditch Mexico are unclear. One source insisted Canada would only contemplate a new bilateral deal with the United States if Washington completely pulled out of NAFTA and there was zero chance of a three-way pact. A different source, however, said Canada would consider bilateral talks if the NAFTA renegotiation reached a deadlock and the United States offered a two-way pact instead. For now, however, the two countries are standing shoulder to shoulder. Mexico plans to present a counter-proposal to the U.S. demand for a sunset clause that would terminate NAFTA in 5 years unless all three countries agree to extend it. Under the Mexican plan, the 5-year period would simply be a review with the option for the agreement to be updated. Mexico is also working on a counter-proposal to Mr. Trump's demands on rules of origin, which included mandating a 50% U.S. content requirement for all vehicles made in Mexico and Canada. The rules of origin issue is set for 4 days of talks, stretching from Saturday to Tuesday. For the most part, however, the fifth round is set to focus largely on less contentious issues in a bid to make progress before tackling the most difficult sticking points. The country's respective ministers Ms. Freeland, Mr. Guajardo and U.S. Trade Czar Robert Lighthizer will not attend this time. Story continues below advertisement. Story continues below advertisement. Financial services, customs procedures and investment are scheduled to get large chunks of time at these talks. Some controversial measures will be largely shunted off for future rounds. Dispute resolution is scheduled for just 1 day and procurement for 2. John Weeks, who was Canada's chief negotiator in the original NAFTA talks in the early 1990s, said Canada and Mexico stand a better chance of resisting the U.S.